St. Louis is a city of neighborhoods, and perhaps no neighborhood has maintained its identity quite so well as the Italian Hill. This neighborhood on the southwest side is known for its neat rows of homes, its Italian markets, and its famous sons. Here on the hill, it can be hard to distinguish yesterday's traditions from today's, because many of the old ways have never gone out of style. But appearances can be deceiving, because while the old hill is doing quite well, some new players are keeping things interesting.
I mean, there are businesses coming to the hill. Fashions businesses being established. It's turning contemporary. Are you ready for this? You know?
Have a half a meatball.
Let's do that. Half a meatball. Homemade meatball.
Adriana Fazio is a fixture on the hill. She spent her whole life here and welcomes visitors to Adriana's, where a meatball sandwich is an institution.
We become St. Louis's Little Italy, and they want to see what's going on. The statue of the immigrants at the church, the local bakeries, the grocery stores, the fine dining, if you want, valet service, the casual dining almost on every corner. They want to see what the Hub is all about. And if you come, you'll see what it's about too. I mean, you just leave here feeling good.
More and more of the people who come here to visit don't want to leave at all.
They ask, is there any place for rent? Are there any homes to buy? I tell them to drive around, and if in doubt, call the church directory or Hill 2000. Property is at a premium. If something goes up for sale, it doesn't stay up for sale long. There's a reason for that.
It's a neighborhood success story that's over 100 years in the making. Late in the 19th century, waves of Italian immigrants, many of them from Sicily, came to America seeking new opportunities. The Italian government actually encouraged emigration because the Italian economy was so depressed at the time. Many of these new Americans found their way to the Hill, where jobs awaited in the clay mines and terracotta and brick factories. It was hard, dirty work, but it helped them build new lives and a new community. Life in this new Little Italy centered around St. Ambrose Church. The church was originally built in 1903 and then rebuilt after a fire in 1921. Growing up on the hill was like growing up in a small Italian village.
You never had to leave the neighborhood. You had grocery stores, you had your church, your school within walking distance, the local movie theater, walking distance, friends all around, if not relatives.
Ties to the old country were strong, but sometimes complicated. These men are celebrating Italy's surrender to Allied forces in 1943.
The roots are there, and you know where your roots are and where you come from. And so you'd be surprised how many grandparents I know today that have grandchildren living on the hill, as well as their own children. You know, some just come back. You know, some do go out to the suburbs or whatever, but you're called back for some reason. There's that community, that civic pride, tradition going for you, and a familiarity that just makes you feel good.
The Hill's rich history has been documented in a coffee table book by Eleanor Berra Marfisi, and a brand new book by Marfisi captures the folk wisdom and recipes of the Hill's famous grandmas, or nonnas in Italian. Today, the Hill is home to dozens of restaurants and markets and specialty retail shops filled with character and charm and good things to eat. This is most definitely a neighborhood that has withstood the test of time. But there's something else going on here on the Hill today. It didn't seem possible, but the Hill has become hip. There's a new vibe on the Hill, and a younger beat is quickening the traditional pulse. New restaurants and retail are popping up all over the place. but perhaps nowhere can it be felt more than at Skiff International. This clothing design studio and boutique now occupies the old Spielberg furniture space on Marconi. Skiff's designs can be seen on many fashionable St. Louisans. But most of these hill-grown styles are shipped off to boutiques in other cities.
East Coast, West Coast, LA, San Francisco, New York, Chicago, a lot of upper East Coast, like Maine, I guess, in the Hamptons area. Japan, we're sending out a huge shipment to Japan next week.
And weren't these used in a movie?
They were used in The Matrix.
That's right. This little design studio on the hill created the fashions for the international blockbuster movie, The Matrix. So while the hill has always had a European flair, it can now claim to be a player on the international fashion map. Of course, Skiff isn't the only hip new neighbor on the hill. Next door, at Atomic Neon, artist Tom Carr bends neon and blows glass for customers around the country. Newer restaurants like Space and Modesto are adding to the traditional roster and drawing a younger crowd, too. The old school hill folks say it's all good.
We knew it was coming. It's the new thing. You know, the trend is towards these businesses adding to the established traditional businesses, and they're flourishing. They want to come to the hill. Take a look at the shops that are up, the new ones. And we're talking nice.